Jeremy Corbell's been on our show before, and I follow him on Instagram and social media platforms. He has really opened the eyes of many to UAPs, which previously called UFOs, and he's got tremendous footage. And most recently, we played it earlier in the show, the UAP that was flying over the Persian Gulf. That may or may not have been a camera smudge. Who knows? But there were thermal videos, and this thing appeared to keep changing color. And Jeremy, I'm being told that you have more video dropping today of the Persian Gulf UAP.
Yeah, a little bit of that was conflated, and I want to address the camera smudge thing. So I initially released through this series UFO Revolution that I did with Tubi, this first set of videos, and that was, we're calling the Jellyfish UFO because it's so bizarre looking. And that's the one where, you know, all the debunkers come out, they don't want it to be real. Look, it's not my video. It's from our military, from an incursion from a base deemed UAP or UFO by our intelligence agencies. A camera smudge? No. And by the way, you can actually see it rotate. So now people are analyzing it. So let's throw away these ridiculous things to try to dismiss it and say, what is it that was causing that incursion? What is this object? They deemed it UAP. But I also, just today, and in the third episode, I think, of Tubi, when they dropped it, there's another image over the Persian Gulf, like you said, and we call that the chandelier UAP. And I call it that because our intelligence agencies dubbed it that within their files. So none of this should be public, but lucky enough, I was able to obtain and release those videos and images.
Now, Jeremy, you also mentioned that since this is military video, I think in the original video that you posted, you said that the military wasn't able to get any target locks on this jellyfish, and that changing in color is thermal, so this thing is constantly changing temperature.
Yes.
And with regards to the UAP over the Persian Gulf, that submerged for a little bit and then shot up and disappeared. What happened there?
So again, you know, two separate incidents. We're talking about submerge or transmedium, the ability to go from space to air to sea without any inertial effect. The one that went into the water for 17 minutes and then came out again was what we're calling the Jellyfish UFO. That's why we kind of named it that. So that was that first video you're seeing that looks so bizarre. I mean, something out of Star Wars, right? Anyway, that thing did submerge into the water. Not everybody's seen that footage in the intelligence community. It was shut down. It was locked down. It was confiscated. Little portions have been out within the intelligence community, but that part does exist. And I have firsthand direct witnesses to that event series. Other people will come forward. That's the hope. Other people will come forward with their information about this. I mean, it'd be great if our government and intelligence agencies released the full footage because it's astounding. The object descends into the water for 17 minutes, comes back up in a controlled flight, and shoots off like that.
I should tell the people, because this isn't just some guy talking. He's an investigative journalist and filmmaker. He's one of the world's foremost experts on the world of the unknown. And he's got a new 3-part documentary on Tubi that he just mentioned called UFO Revolution. Roy, what did you have for Jeremy Corbell?
These type of images and this type of intelligence is becoming less and less classified today than in the past. Why do you think that is?
It's actually becoming more and more classified.
More the opposite, okay.
Yeah, so what happens is, so I obtain leaks. So people leak things to me from within the intelligence agencies, and there have been investigations into every leak that has ever come my way that's military filmed footage, yet confirmed by the Pentagon. So when I started obtaining all of these and people started trusting me really with their lives, they basically started classifying UAP more and more, locking down on what the American public can see. But it's had the reverse effect in my work. People know something about me, which I guess is rare, which is that I can actually keep a secret, not just say I will. So protecting sources, even if they don't protect themselves, is the core of the journalism that I do when you're dealing with, you know, military assets.
Can you tell me what you believe to be the greatest proof you've ever seen that UFOs represent extraterrestrial life?
Yeah, I love that question because I was asking that question to everybody I ever first interviewed. Like, just show me the goods. What do you know? What's the greatest proof? You know, and I've come to a point after, you know, more than a decade and working with George Knapp, who's been at this for like 35, almost 40 years, an investigative reporter. He's my co-host of Weaponized Podcast. This guy's the OG. And we talk about this all the time. What is the best evidence? Well, evidence for one is not evidence for another. if you could walk in my shoes and have the conversations and the access that I've had, it is the preposterous preponderance, the weight of the cumulative evidence that for me is the greatest indication that we are not alone. Now, where they're from, these UFOs, who's controlling them, why they can outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform our greatest weapon systems and platforms, I don't know the answer to that. It's been here a very, very long time. This is not new. Even the shape of the Jellyfish UFO, that is the same that was being reported back all the way in the early 1900s. So for me, the greatest evidence is the preposterous preponderance, the heavy weight of the cumulative information that has come our way. But I think it's a sea change. Consensus reality is beginning to catch up with actual reality of whatever this UFO presence is.
I want to put for you on the screen a still image of what might be a rock that is like a cloud, looks like an alien.
Oh no, that's I call it the alien cake.
Yeah, is it cake?
I haven't tasted it. And as an investigative journalist, I'd actually have to cut in and taste it to know. But, that's an unfortunate thing. It's important to keep an open mind, but we do it to ourselves, like the UFO community, right? When we are looking for truth in all of this, we seem to backslide one step forward, two steps backwards. So what you just showed was an image. And that image was from in Mexico. There was a congressional hearing, and a friend of mine, he is a fighter pilot, or was a fighter pilot, Ryan Graves, and he went down there to talk about air safety, because fighter pilots are seeing UFOs on a daily basis. They call it, it's a flight safety issue. So he goes down there and they bust out these like mummy-looking aliens that are probably made of cake. And people hate it when I say that, but come on. And so that's what you just showed on the screen. We do cover that in the documentary series in episode 2 of the UFO Revolution thing on Tubi. But anyway, that's what you showed me. I know it gets clicks, but I'm kind of dealing with more heavy stuff.
All right. Well, I want to show you here from our cameras. This is exclusive footage of the thing that was a big deal in Miami, where 50 police officers are chasing around what looked like an alien or a teenager with a shadow, a substantive shadow. Is this one of those kook things that arrives across your desk, or does it have any veracity?
Yeah. So none of it is kook stuff. What you're seeing is not anything to do with UFOs, aliens, anything like that. But what you're seeing is, in popular culture, people are so interested in this. It shows such this just veracity, this kind of hunger for this information about this, because people know they've been lied to about UFOs because people are seeing them. But no, that event, within 2 minutes, you could go on and understand that was an orchestrated deception, campaign by ourselves, just by, people reposting stuff that is unfortunately not the smoking gun evidence that you had asked me for earlier.
What do we make of the dichotomy of people who are so desperate to believe and desperate to believe these conspiracy theories, and yet when our own government acknowledges UAPs, and you've made the distinction, UAPs don't generally mean intelligent extraterrestrial life. It just means that this is something unidentified. What do you make of our inability to process those hard truths when they tell us these things? Because it kind of thumbs its nose in deities and conventional science.
Yeah, well, I mean, within your question is the answer right there. UFOs has always been kind of loosely associated with this idea of conspiracy, but that was something that was implemented, nothing to see here, move on. That was implemented, and there's documentation of this when you see how our intelligence agencies decided how the American public and global public was supposed to look at UFOs. They didn't want people asking questions. There were flyovers of Washington, D.C. of UFOs. Fighter jets were scrambled. That was in 1952, and there was this event where they were like, okay, nothing to see here, move on. Serious people don't take this seriously. So when you said the word conspiracy, that's exactly how you've been programmed from the beginning about UFOs. The problem is UFOs is not a conspiracy. It's either true or it's not true. And again, there's a preposterous preponderance of evidence that it is true. And it's not just people telling you that now. This is not Uncle Jim on the farm looking up and saying he was abducted. Now, what you have is fighter pilots having near misses, catching it on radar, on thermal, on infrared, locking their weapon systems, even UFOs having incursions in a base like that footage that I released, and sometimes even enabling and disabling our nuclear armaments, both in Russia, here in the US. Those are documented cases that people have gotten through Freedom of Information Act requests. So here's the point, man. The DIA studies this. They've been studying it with taxpayer money. Every intelligence agency on planet Earth takes this seriously, to the point of higher than weapons of mass destruction as far as the threat. And that's not just something I'm saying. I know that to be true. So that's the deal, is that this is a topic that our intelligence agencies have taken seriously for a long time. Now the American public is starting to realize this is a real phenomenon. The UFO presence is a reality. Now, what they are, where they're from, who are the people that are piloting it? Is it from another planet? Is it from some sort of civilization that was here before? We really don't know the answers to that. And guessing, my guess is as good as yours.
Well, it's less than a minute that we've got left. So quickly, though, couldn't all those things just be sophisticated science from people who are ahead technologically that require our military's attention because maybe some other country has sophisticated warfare that we have to shoot down?
Yeah, the Senate Intelligence Committee and a bunch of the intelligence agencies have assessed that, and that would almost be scarier, right? That another company had a leapfrog in technology and are just so far beyond anything that we had. The problem with that theory is it doesn't hold weight, and the reason is because UFOs have been here way before the technological age, before we had a military. So the UFO presence has just been here too long. Now, sure, some things will come out that are black projects, that kind of thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about these things that can defy our known physics. I think we need to catch up.
30 seconds or less, the drone-like spider thing going into the ocean for 17 minutes. What's the weirdest thing you've seen? The weirdest, the most shocking, most titillating?
I would say that jellyfish UFO you were mentioning is the most bizarre morphology of a UFO that I have ever witnessed with my own eyes. It's just bizarre.
Jeremy, thank you for the expertise, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, you guys.
And potentially, if you want to see an alien live in the flesh, we're going to have our Bayside cameras on all night on the live stream. So go ahead and subscribe, youtube.com/@LeBatardShow.